in the World Cup, taking place at Stadium 974. It's the Group D encounter between defending champions France and Denmark. One of probably the most look forward to games of the group stage coming into these finals. France, they beat Australia 4-1 in their opening game, coming from behind to do so. And if they were to win this one, they would guarantee their place in the knockout stages with a group game to spare. For Denmark, they've made work pretty tough for themselves after drawing with Tunisia in their opening group match. They could certainly do with avoiding defeat in this game. If they were to lose, then they certainly would face an uphill battle to make it through to the last 16, and they would effectively have a shootout with group game. It's myself, Tom McGarry, and Harry Jones talking you through this afternoon's coverage. And Harry, it's the defending champions against many people's dark horses heading into the tournament. It should make for a good game.
Yeah, it should. And like you said, the dark horses coming into the tournament, but you also mentioned that they didn't really have the best of starts, did they? A lot of people expected them to dispatch Tunisia with ease, but it wasn't really going to plan, was it? And after their campaign in the Euro 2020 last year, I think everyone expected them to go far in the tournament. You saw the team that they have now, the players they have, and the manager's got them playing in a really nice way, but it just didn't really click, did it, against Tunisia? And it'd be interesting to see whether they can weather the storm from this France side, who looked so dangerous in transition last week. In the last game against Australia, they looked frightening going forward. So it's going to make for a good matchup.
Yeah, in the second half in particular, France were so impressive. A brace for Olivier Giroud, but Kylian Mbappe really caught the eye as well with an impressive display. The game is underway then. Nearly 90 seconds have been played. Denmark are in their changed white shirts and socks and red shorts, going from right to left in this first half. France in their traditional blue, white and red colours. If you missed the team news in the build-up to the game, it's 3 changes for France, all in their back line. Raphael Varane returns following injury. Jules Koundé is preferred to Benjamin Pavard, and Theo Hernandez replaces his injured brother Lucas, who of course is out for the tournament after suffering a serious knee injury early in the game against Australia. Ibrahima Konate is the other player to drop out. For Denmark, it's 4 changes in total from the draw with Tunisia. Mikkel Damsgaard, Victor Nelson, Jasper Lindstrøm and Andreas Cornelius come in. Thomas Delaney, he's another player that's now been ruled out of the tournament through injury. Captain Simon Kjær, Andreas Skov Olsen and Kasper Dolberg, the other players to drop out. So both Kasper Hjulmand and Didier Deschamps choosing to shuffle their pack for this second group game as Denmark win themselves a free kick in a dangerous position. And it's probably unsurprising that the Danes want to try and start this game quickly after such a disappointing showing against Tunisia.
Yeah, and they will also see the weakness that France had. I mean, they conceded very early on, didn't they, against Australia, and everyone thought that could be another massive shock upset that we see in the tournament. So Denmark will know that they can get at this France team early.
Yeah, Mæhle whips the cross in from the left-hand side after Eriksen took the initial free kick short. It's comfortably dealt with defensively from a France point of view. The French team in full, Lloris in goal, Koundé, Varane, Upamecano and Theo Hernandez the back four, Tchouaméni and Rabiot in front of them, with Dembele, Griezmann and Mbappe supporting Olivier Giroud in what is a really frightening front four for an opposition defence to face. For Denmark, Schmeichel in goal, Andersen, Christensen and Nelson at the back three. Rasmus Christensen and Joachim Mæhle are the wing backs, with Højbjerg and Eriksen in the middle of the park, Lindstrøm and Damsgaard then supporting Cornelius up front. It's a completely freshened up attack from the Danes this evening. Nearly 4 minutes have been played. Lively start to the contest. Both sides trying to get on the front foot as Rasmus Christensen there, the Leeds wing back, tried to slip it through to Cornelius, who is a huge striker, really good in the air, a big physical presence. And I wonder if his inclusion suggests that Denmark might be willing to go a little bit more route one than perhaps they were in their previous game.
Yeah, I think so. And he came on last week. Last week against Tunisia, and he was fantastic when he came on. I think he just added that extra bit of firepower in the attacking line. It just gave them someone to aim at, and we see there Christensen just fizzes the ball into his feet. He hit it with a little bit too much pace there. It was hard for Cornelius to take down when he was already moving away from goal. So it'd be a nicer ball threaded through from Christensen there, and he was in behind the defence. And I think France have got to wake up there, because Cornelius had almost half the pitch right in front of him to run into, and nobody really tracking him. So they need to be wary of that ball in behind.
Yeah, France perhaps just settling in defensively with those 3 changes that Deschamps has made to his back four. 6'5", incidentally, the height of Andreas Cornelius, the former Cardiff City striker, back these days playing in his homeland with FC Copenhagen. As Denmark on the front foot again. Eriksson with a flick on to Cornelius, who tries to move out towards Joachim Mæhle on the left-hand side. It's Ousmane Dembele back doing his defensive work, and he's doing it really well, driving forward with pace and skill up towards the halfway line. He's got options on the left-hand side, and he finds one of those in the form of Adrien Rabiot. Theo Hernandez, on the overlap, and Kylian Mbappe. Mbappe will cut in on his right foot, feeds it back towards the edge of the area where Dembele has continued his run. His effort is blocked at source, though, by Eriksson, and Denmark can scramble it clear, and that's what France, they possess so much threat going forward in all departments, but on the counter-attack with the pace of Dembele and Mbappe in particular, Denmark are going to have to watch out for that.
Yeah, they are, and we see Dembele there when he's on form and when he's confident. He's one of the best in the world in his position. I mean, he's fantastic. The way he takes the ball out from his own penalty area, drives all the way and almost finishes it off at the other end. And he has that added threat and that added ability that he's completely two-footed. You never know which way he's going to go. If he wants to go to the byline and cross in with the right, he can. If he wants to cut in on his left, he's just as strong with both feet, and that's something that is going to cause Joachim Mæhle all kinds of trouble this evening.
6 minutes on the clock, France 0, Denmark 0, but it's been an entertaining start to this game. As we mentioned, both sides looking to get on the front foot as Denmark work it down the left-hand side. It's Damsgaard who's dropped deep. He feeds it into Eriksson, who's popped up where the Brentford man would expect him to be, Damsgaard, and Eriksson then tries to thread the ball through to Cornelius. Hugo Lloris is quickly out of his goal to gather for France, and he's quickly distributed the ball out. The French skipper, Meccano, into the feet of Chouameni, who was an impressive performer, one of the many impressive performers for France in that opening game against Australia. Him and Rabiot forming a good base at the heart of that French midfield. Theo Hernandez now into Kylian Mbappe. Chouameni once more, joined Real Madrid, of course, in the summer. Work now down the right-hand side for Jules Koundé, who's with Barcelona these days. Playing at right back this evening, preferred to Benjamin Pavard, who was perhaps at fault for Australia's goal in that 4-1 win for France earlier in the week. Koundé more of a centre-back than a right-back, but has played in this position for club and country before. Upamecano now. As France just really probably for the first time in this game settling into a period of sustained possession.
Yeah, I think Denmark are happy to sit back and let them have the ball for a couple of minutes and just reform their shape and just see what France are going to do when they have a bit of time on the ball. See how they're going to set up and see how they're going to try and move the ball forward, which direction they're going to take, which angles they're going to go through. And I think France, like you said, have just settled things down now. Denmark they did start well, and I think there's definitely chances for them there, as we saw earlier. The ball into Cornelius. Almost found the striker once again. I mean, that's a couple of chances he's had. So I think Denmark will be pretty happy with how they started.
Dembele coming forward though for France down the right-hand side. He's made a lively opening. Rabiot will switch it across to the left-hand flank where Mbappe is hugging the touchline. He whips an early ball into the box. Dangerous delivery over the head of Griezmann and headed clear by Andreas Christensen at the heart of that Danish back three. Denmark, of course, did beat France home and away in the Nations League just a couple of months ago, so they'll be coming into this game with nothing to fear against the reigning champions. Rabiot now for France to Griezmann. Oh, give and go between him and Dembele. It's worked out to Koundé on the right-hand side. France are starting to settle into a period of dominance in terms of the ball. Upamecano out to Theo Hernandez. Mbappe is remaining very wide over on that left-hand side. As France work it back to the halfway line once again with Chouameni. Every outfield player inside the Denmark half. It's moved now by Varane. Out to Koundé on the right-hand side. Dembele will flick it in field. He certainly started this game in confident fashion as Varane once more on the halfway line. Back in the team today, of course, Raphael Varane. It's only a matter of weeks ago that he went off in tears, picking up an injury for Manchester United against Chelsea as a cross from the right-hand side for Hernandez, nodded down by Rabiot, and it just wouldn't quite fall for Giroud, waiting, lurking on the penalty spot. Denmark forced to scramble it clear. Yeah,
it was a really nice period of play there. Theo Hernandez overlapping the running behind. That's what he does a little bit better than his brother, who he replaced against Australia. I mean, he's got that electric pace to get him behind, makes them overlapping runs and linking up with Mbappe. Very dangerous. Gets the ball into the area and it's not a down. And Giroud, I think, his eyes were on that 52nd goal, wasn't it, to break Thierry Henry's record. I think that'll be on his mind for the majority of the 90 minutes today. And like you said, it just didn't quite sit for him, the bounce, the way it just came back up. There was too many defenders around him, didn't have much time, snatched at it, didn't really make contact either. But France looking dangerous.
Denmark now looking to come forward. It's a lovely switch to Christensen on the right-hand side. He's on the edge of the France penalty area, tries to feed it into the path of the running Damsgaard. It will deflect out to the far side. In fact, Lindstrom will keep it in play. It looked like it was going to go for a corner. Players from both sides stopped. It stayed in on the line. Lindstrom was quickest to react in the end, and eventually across from the right-hand side for Denmark is easily claimed by Hugo Lloris. But we've had over 10 minutes now in the game. We're bringing you independent off-tube studio commentary. France 0, Denmark 0. We haven't really had any shots in anger as of yet, but it's been an intriguing watch.
Yeah, it has. I mean, like you said, I just noted as well that we haven't really seen a shot yet, but I don't feel like it's been a flat game whatsoever. I think both sides have looked good going forward. Both sides definitely not happy to sit back and play out for a draw, or there's not really much, there's not many nervy tactics going on. I think both sides definitely want all 3 points, and at the minute I wouldn't be able to split the two on who's going to get it, because both sides look very defensively in shape. Denmark sitting a little bit deeper than France, which is probably more natural, as France would be coming in as the favourites. So Denmark maybe not quite as free flowing going forward. They want to hold their shape a little bit more, but still, even when they go forward, France I think are defending pretty well. They're pretty rigid, not really many signs of concern, apart from obviously very early on when they looked a little bit out of shape, and they were just not quite as close tight to their men as they really should have been.
Free kick to France. Kylian Mbappe has been brought down by Joachim Andersen. Crystal Palace defender protests the decision to the referee, but France will get the free kick. The official this afternoon, incidentally, is Simon Marcinak from Poland, European referee for this all-European clash in World Cup Group D, as Antoine Griezmann stands over this free kick over on the left-hand side for France, about midway inside the Denmark half. Decent angle for him to try and whip this ball into the box, and he does. It's a dangerous delivery, and it had to be flicked clear there by Cornelius back in his own penalty area, who turns it behind for the game's first corner.
Yeah, it looked as though for a second that might have flown into the back of the net the way Cornelius caught it. I'm not really sure if he knew what end he was at. Looked like he was going for goal, but did really well to beat Giroud to the header and flicked it away from a corner. But France, these deliveries into the penalty area looking dangerous. It's not been the first, and it definitely won't be the last. It's going to trouble Kasper Schmeichel in goal.
Cornelius will be hoping that's not as close as he comes to finding the back of the net this evening. It was a good defensive header though from Denmark's centre forward. Griezmann, who took that free kick, now standing over the corner, whips it in swing, and it's flicked on at the front post. Had to be scrambled away then at the far by some last-ditch Danish defending. France will now retreat back into their own half. Upamecano turns it all the way back to his goalkeeper, Hugo Lloris, but another really good ball into the box from Antoine Griezmann, causing the Danish backline one or two problems. Yeah,
they're seriously causing problems, these crosses into the area. I mean, Mbappe had one earlier as well, and that's where they're enjoying a lot of their chances, France, and it's understandable why. I mean, when you've got a player like Olivier Giroud up front, I mean, that time it was Raphael Varane who caught it at the near post. When you've got that sort of threat from corners and set pieces, they've got a lot of height, haven't they? I mean, Denmark are not a short side by all means, but France possess that aerial ability, and the likes of Varane and Giroud, it makes them so dangerous. So I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more balls flying into the box from out wide.
Yeah, for all the attacking quality in both sides, you do feel like set pieces could be key in this game. It was Varane, as Harry mentioned, who flicked on that Antoine Griezmann corner, and it was Joachim Mæhle back towards the goal line who hooked it clear for Denmark. I don't think it was heading on target from Varane, but Mæhle couldn't take any chances. As Nelson will now switch it for the Danes out to Christensen on the right-hand side. He's been a good outlet so far in this game. Can't quite combine with Lindstrom on this occasion. France will now look to bring it forward with Tchouaméni, who certainly is the one who's sitting deepest in that French midfield, allowing Rabiot to push forward when France are in possession to link up with that front four. It's Denmark, though, who are looking to come forward at this moment in time. Damsgaard challenged well by Griezmann. Varane will now pick up possession for the French. As I was mentioning earlier on, Raphael Varane, it's only a few weeks ago since he picked up that hamstring injury against Chelsea. He was in tears leaving the pitch, looked like he was going to be out of this tournament, but here he is in game 2 of the finals, and he's back starting for France.
Yeah, he is, and I was a little bit surprised to see him starting so early on in the tournament. Like you said, he looked like he was going to be out, but back into the starting 11. I mean, he's a player who's got so much experience and knowledge on the international stage. He's a World Cup winner. He's a multiple-time Champions League winner with Real Madrid. He's playing very well at the minute for Manchester United, and he's a player that we know he has that extra bit of leadership to add to the defence. I mean, Ibrahima Konate was fantastic last time out against Australia, but I think Varane's always going to be their more natural number one in that defence when he is fit, so I'm not surprised to see him starting, but I was obviously under the means of the injury. I thought there would be no way he'd be back this soon.
Yeah, it's impressive to see him back out on the field 22nd of October when he picked up that injury at Stamford Bridge. Just seen a dangerous ball in from Ousmane Dembele, who has started the game well down the right hand side. Giroud was attacking it, and it was decent defending from Joachim Andersen to flip the ball clear. Looked like the last touch came off the Danish defender, but the referee gave a goal kick, so it's Denmark on the ball. Sloppy pass though by Andreas Christensen out to the right hand side, sees it go straight out of play for a throw in, and Kasper Hjulmand not happy on the sidelines, and you can just sense that France has started to take a grip of this game. They're not creating too many clear-cut chances at the moment, but they've got Denmark pinned back.
Yeah, they have, and Denmark, I think, orchestrating their own downfall slightly by not pressuring France out of possession as much. They're happy to sit back, and they're inviting all this pressure, and they're allowing France to play with the ball, and can become a bit tedious just chasing shadows for the Danish players, and they need to be a little bit more animated, I think, and they need to get in the faces more. I mean, we know that they can play with such a high pressure and put teams under, and they didn't do it against Tunisia like we saw. I mean, they were allowed all the possession, they didn't make it work, so they need to do the opposite here against France and squeeze them out of possession and force them into mistakes, because time and time again, like we're seeing, France swinging balls into the penalty area, and it's really working. When eventually one's going to come off. You can't put that many decent crosses into the box on a player like Olivier Giroud and expect him to not score. I mean, he's going to get one of the chances.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned earlier on, Giroud has the extra incentive of going in search of his 52nd goal for France, which would take him beyond Thierry Henry and make him the all-time leading scorer for Le Bleu outright on his own. He got his 50th and 51st goal for his country in that 4-1 victory over Australia. His first World Cup goals as well for 8 years. Infamously didn't score in France's run to winning the tournament in Russia 4 years ago, but played a vital part nonetheless in that success. As Denmark perhaps wisely just keeping possession, trying to get a feel for the ball. They haven't seen too much of it over the last 5 or 10 minutes. It's Victor Nelson, one of the players that has come into the starting lineup this evening. 8th cap for the 24-year-old Galatasaray central defender. He's on the ball again. Falls backwards by the press from Dembele to his goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel, who's wearing the captain's armband this evening. Simon Kjær, the regular skipper, came off pretty early against Tunisia and is only among the substitutes this evening as well. No indication as that being an injury to the AC Milan player. As possession turns over and Varane has it for France. Works it out to Theo Hernandez on the left-hand side. Mbappe back to Theo Hernandez, who continued his run forward, and he's driving towards the edge of the Denmark penalty area. Tries to link up with Giroud, but the pass was a little bit behind the French striker, and Denmark can win the ball back. There's a lot of nearly moments at this moment in time for France in attack, and they just can't quite find that final ball at the moment.
No, they can't, but like I said before, Theo Hernandez looking dangerous when overlapping with Mbappe. He's just almost an extra attacker when he bombs down that left-hand side. He's really good going forward, so he's going to be a serious problem on that left-hand side. But like you said, it's not really clicking. I mean, there we saw a little bit of miscommunication between Giroud and Hernandez. Giroud wanted the ball in behind, but Theo Hernandez wanted it into feet, maybe a 1-2 to try and build some link-up play. I think Hernandez might have had the right idea, as there wasn't really many players supporting Giroud up front, so maybe a couple of passes in and around the defence to try and engage a couple more of his teammates, maybe been the right idea.
At the other end, Damsgaard plays a good ball into Cornelius, into the penalty area. Damsgaard gets it back, but just miscontrolled at the vital moment, and that allowed Varane to step in. Griezmann tried to start the counter-attack, and there was the pace of Kylian Mbappe. He looked to be second, third, fourth favourite when that ball was played through, but such was the raw pace of the France striker. He got beyond his man, and it was Andreas Christensen who got caught, and in an attempt to stop Mbappe breaking through, he instinctively hauled the PSG striker to the ground. He picks up a yellow card, and that's probably the best outcome that Christensen could hope for there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was really rash, wasn't it? But with most players, you can afford to give them maybe 1 or 2 yards, but not Mbappe. You need to give yourself 5 or 6 yards. I mean, he's so quick that even when he was about 5 or 6 yards before when the ball was played, and he still got there first. Christensen caught sleeping. He's panicked. He's brought him to ground. 2 hands over the hips of Mbappe, drags him to the floor. And well, if Mbappe latched onto the end of that pass, there's no way anyone's catching him. He's still on goal. So definitely very fortunate there that Christensen wasn't any closer to his goal, because we could have easily seen that. Being him leaving the field.
Yeah, a yellow card is probably the right call, but because it's Kylian Mbappe, you think, 8-9 times out of 10 he was probably going to score there, or certainly have a shot on goal given his pace. Christensen's reaction as well, he had his head in his hands. I think he was expecting the card to come as the cross comes in from Dembele and it's headed towards goal. Good save from Kasper Schmeichel to his right hand side. Adrien Rabiot, the man with the effort, as France again test Denmark defensively and finally get an effort that Schmeichel has to save.
Yeah, it's really good there from Rabiot to latch onto the end of the cross, and once again another delicious delivery from Dembele. I mean, I haven't noted one bad cross yet from a France perspective. I mean, they've all been inch perfect, and I'm not really sure how they haven't got the ball over the line with one of them, but a really good header from Rabiot. I mean, he played very well, didn't he, against Australia, and maybe a little bit reformed in a France shirt after he's been given a chance with both N'Golo Kante and Paul Pogba not going to the World Cup. People ask questions about that France midfield. Could they do it without them two in the middle? The usual spine of their team is Kante and Pogba, but Rabiot is really stepping up. Fantastic header there. Really unlucky not to score, but it was a great save from Schmeichel to deny him.
Yeah, Rabiot, who didn't go to the last World Cup after refusing to be on the standby list, playing a prominent role this time round, it would seem, as France look to come forward again. The switch from Mbappe out towards Dembele on the French right is cut out by Joachim Mæhle, and then the man we were just speaking about, Rabiot, is penalised by the referee. He started this game well. Dembele's been a really good outlet on the right hand side as well, as we look at his cross that led to that Rabiot opportunity. Good header from the France number 14, but a comfortable sighter of a save for Kasper Schmeichel.
Yeah, it didn't quite hit the corner, did it? It was pretty central in the end, but a very difficult angle for Rabiot there to try and flick towards the far post, because he was pretty far forward in the penalty area. I mean, it would have done really well to nestle that in the corner, but I think with the situation, I think he did really well to direct it goalwards nonetheless. And Schmeichel, a good reactive save, and to deny him. And well, like I said, it was pretty comfortable in the end. I mean, it wasn't really quite in the corner enough, so yeah, just a good save.
Yeah, decent save, as the referee's got his hand in his pocket once again, and it's another Danish player to pick up a yellow card. Andreas Cornelius this time, following Andreas Christensen into the referee's notebook. Christian Eriksen is just questioning the decision, but Cornelius has caught his man. The French player is down on the halfway line. Cornelius has accepted his punishment. We'll have to see a replay to see how strong this challenge was in the middle of the park. I think Denmark might have felt they should have had a free kick before that for a challenge on Højbjerg, and the second one comes in, and yeah, Cornelius just stands on the top of the foot and the ankle even of Olivier Giroud, who's down receiving treatment. Yeah,
you don't want to see that, do you, if you're a French fan, or especially Giroud? He'll be a little bit nervous now. I mean, we've already highlighted his race for that 52nd goal, and if he does end up going off, that'll put that dream to bed pretty promptly. But it looks like he'll be okay. They've got some of the deep heat spray and sprayed Giroud's foot. He sat up, so I think he'll be okay to carry on.
Yeah, it's a poor challenge from Cornelius. No intent, I don't think, to hurt Giroud, but it was a bit of a lazy, dangling leg that always put his opposing striker at risk. Thankfully, Giroud is back on his feet and seemingly okay. We've passed the midway point in the first half as well, bringing you independent off-tube studio commentary. France 0, Denmark 0 in World Cup Group D. France edging it on points, you would say, so far, but to take us through to the half-time break, I'll hand you over to Harry.
Yes, we just wait for the game to get back underway after Giroud is back to his feet, and France get the game back underway with the free kick sprayed out towards the right-hand side, and Jules Koundé will pick things up, plays a direct ball into Sherman. He is under pressure there from Christian Eriksen, but did well to hold on to it. France once again happy to set back and hold on to the ball as Lloris tries a long ball forward looking for Antoine Griezmann, but in the end nobody got on the end of it. No Denmark player either. It bounced a couple of times before it was headed back by Joachim Andersen, and the camera cut quickly to Didier Deschamps, who was sitting pretty comfortable in his chair. I think he'll be happy with how his side have started so far. Arguably the biggest test in their group stage fixtures for France, so to set at 0-0 after 25 minutes, and well, the lion's share of chances really. I think he'll be quite happy.
Yeah, I think he'll be reasonably comfortable with how the game is going. France are not quite in control of proceedings, but they've looked good, created a few opportunities, and certainly have that threat on the attack, whilst nullifying Denmark going forward. It's been a little bit disjointed from the Danes so far. It hasn't quite worked for them in the final third. They've made all those changes high up the field, and yet they're not really clicking into gear so far. It's a difficult game from a Denmark point of view. They want to win it. They know they can win it. They've beat France twice already this year, but they also want to make sure they don't lose it, because that would really ramp the pressure up going into that game with Australia.
Yeah, it would, as France look to take the goal kick with Hugo Lloris. It just drifted out from Mæhle, who tried to get on the end of a big switch from the other side of the field, but didn't manage to latch on to the end of the ball. Denmark once again now applying a little bit more pressure than what we've seen so far, as in the middle of the park I think Rabiot may have just gone down there under a challenge off the ball. Referee didn't want to give anything, and now Denmark will dispossess them. Can they make it count as they go back towards goal, as Andersen picks things back up, plays a 1-2 in the middle of the park with Højbjerg, and Andersen once again slows things down out towards Christensen, and Denmark, like you said, look a little bit disjointed going forward. They equally not look too great against Tunisia. We expected to see more from them there, and Tunisia would have felt a little bit more aggrieved that they didn't come out with all 3 points, even despite the late penalty shout that VAR were looking at for Denmark. They could have wrapped things up at the death there, but it didn't go their way, so they had to settle for a share of points as Game's back underway from the free kick in the middle of the park. Joachim Andersen just slowly edging in towards the France half, switches it over to the left hand side. Can Mæhle keep it in? He uses the head to get there, but it's once again met by the head of Jules Koundé, who fires another one out for a throw-in on this near side. Mæhle plays a 1-2, doesn't get the ball back though, and Griezmann will put Nelson under pressure, who's, like I said, stepped in for Simon Kjær, but the usual captain, he's not really had much game time this season with injuries at AC Milan. He's been in and out to the side, so no surprises to see him not featuring as heavy so far in this campaign, as the ball towards the right hand side, picked out there by Theo Hernandez, and Mbappe can't do anything with it either, as he tries to get onto the end of the second ball. He can't keep the ball in from going out for a throw, so Denmark remain in possession. This has been a steady period for them, as they finally enjoyed a little bit more of the ball inside the France half. Can they make it count here? A ball into the area from Lindstrom, blocked at the first line of defence there by Theo Hernandez, but it'll be another Denmark throw.
Yeah, Denmark, just over the last couple of minutes, starting to see a good deal of possession inside France's final third for the first time in 15 or 20 minutes, and putting the pressure on. Eriksen can't quite force the corner there from Rabiot. It'll be a goal kick to France, but yeah, it is an even contest that they're cancelling each other out a little bit at the moment, and rather ominously, I don't want to mention this too early, but when these two sides met in the group stage of the last World Cup in 2018, it was a rather drab 0-0. I'm hoping that this game doesn't follow a similar suit.
No, we've seen plenty of 0-0 so far in this World Cup campaign. There's been a lot of games that have ended pretty flat, and have been flat throughout, so hopefully there's no commentator's curse here and we can enjoy a good spectacle. It's been pretty decent so far. We're just waiting for that first illustrious goal. Ball over the top there by Tchouameni, tried to be picked out by Mbappe, but he was battling away with the Denmark defenders. Couldn't win it though, so it's back in the possession of the Danes, who just creep forward out on the right hand side. Now Christensen helps it on towards Lindstrom. He's trying to take on Upamecano there. The Bayern Munich defender did really well to prevent the corner as he slides in, fires the ball out for a throw on the far side. So Christensen, the Leeds right back, will take the throw. Goes in towards Lindstrom. Fantastic campaign with Frankfurt this season, Lindstrom, as he does really well there to turn away from Theo Hernandez, but then Hernandez with the sheer pace and power to get himself in between man and the ball there. He did really well to usher it out for a goal kick.
Yeah, lovely turn from Lindstrom initially to get half a yard of space, but Hernandez is quickly back in and shows good strength just to muscle Lindstrom off the ball. That's maybe what Denmark are lacking a little bit. some good technical players in the final third, Lindstrom and Damsgaard, but they're getting a little bit bullied off the ball at the moment by their French counterparts, which means they can't provide the service for Cornelius in the middle.
Yeah, it's a very rigid back line for France, a very strong defenders. A really good flick on there from Antoine Griezmann, picks out Mbappe on the left hand side. He's hugging the touchline as he cuts in on the right foot, goes back onto the left, gets to the byline, tries to deliver a ball to the back post. It's picked out by Jules Koundé, who has the shot from just inside the penalty area, but it was blocked by Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who was there on the goal line to prevent Kasper Schmeichel's net from being rippled there. It was a dangerous counter-attack as Mbappe gets to the byline. France maybe unlucky there, but they're having the better chances.
They are, and Mbappe, he's been on the periphery of the game for large parts, but every now and again he just bursts into life, and again we saw not just his pace down the left-hand side, but his technical ability, cross towards the far post. Koundé's strike, decent here, it is going wide, similar to the Varane header earlier on that Mæhle cleared away. This time it was Højbjerg who got his body in the way, and eventually Denmark were able to scramble it clear.
Yeah, so shades of a certain French right-back scoring a goal similar to that of the chance of Jules Koundé and Benjamin Pavard at the last World Cup. Fantastic goal from him in the knockout stages. So his fellow countryman, teammate, and playing in the same position. Koundé couldn't quite repeat the same feat. It was a little bit of a tame effort. Højbjerg did well though to scramble it off the goal line as Denmark looked to move forward with Højbjerg. Goes out towards Rasmus Christensen, and now Joachim Andersen looked to edge forward, but stopped in his tracks there by Giroud. Stood him up, forced him into moving the ball over to this left hand side as now Nelson switches it over to the right. Christensen helps it further on down the line now as Lindstrom tries to get a ball in the box. Upamecano quickly comes across to close him down and did really well there, Upamecano, as he made the challenge, and it incidentally ricocheted off the foot of Lindstrom, and it'll go out for a goal kick.
Yeah, Lindstrom wasn't happy with the decision, and looking at the replay, it was a triple, a ricochet, wasn't it? Difficult for the official to spot, but the last touch did come off Upamecano, so I can understand why Lindstrom and Denmark are feeling a little bit annoyed, because they should have had a corner.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trick missed there from the referee or the linesman. Upamecano got away with one slightly as Lindstrom's claims were seemingly to be right as Hugo Lloris takes the goal kick. Giroud did really well to drop in towards the halfway line, wins the flick on, but it can't be picked out by Ousmane Dembélé. As Koundé, his teammate at Barcelona, gets the game back underway with the throw-in as a stat flashes up on our screen. 5 attempts at goal for France with only the 1 on target. Denmark still yet to have a single attempt on goal, so it really tells the tale of this first half so far. Denmark making the game pretty even in terms of possession and what they're doing with the ball, but it's in the final third they're completely being bullied.
Yeah, they are, and they're just lacking that creative spark, if you like. We've not seen too much as well, certainly in an attacking sense, from Eriksen and Højbjerg in the middle of the park, as a lovely give and go gets France into the penalty area. Griezmann's strike on the angle is saved by Schmeichel. Tchouaméni then has an effort blocked. It's still alive though for France. Dembélé volleyed strike. This time it's Mæhle who gets in the way. Last ditch defending from Denmark, just about keeping France at bay.
Yeah, massive chance there from France, and they look like they're growing into the fixture now. Aurélien Tchouaméni just twists and turns away there from Højbjerg, who was hot on his heels. And now Upamecano will look to restart the attack. They want to keep things going here, France. They don't want to take the sting out of this attack. They've got some good momentum here, and they need to use it wisely. Dembélé really nicely there. Picks out Jules Koundé, who delivers the ball towards the back post. Nobody can meet it, though, as Denmark scramble the ball clear. Christensen with the initial header. Eriksen with the flick on, and now France are still keeping things alive. Adrien Rabiot will have a go from range, and it ricochets there off Christensen for a third time. He's been in the thick of the action, the Leeds United right back, and well, it's real tough times for Denmark as they're just about doing enough to scramble clear.
They are, and it feels like, though, France, every time they want to go up through the gears, they do, and it's really difficult for Denmark or anyone probably in world football to live with them when they do that. They're knocking on the door, the French. Dembélé, for me, has been the standout attacking player in the game so far. He's looked really dangerous down that right-hand side and has been linking up well with Jules Koundé. That Barcelona connection clearly working for Didier Deschamps, as France now have themselves a free kick in a dangerous area. Cornelius on a yellow card gives it away, bringing down Tchouaméni, but a chance for France to keep the pressure on.
it was a really tight angle for Griezmann to try and finish off the chance. I'm not sure if he was going for goal or whether he was just trying to get a ball into the danger zone, but either way, it was a good effort on target, forced a reactional save out of Kasper Schmeichel, the former Leicester City goalkeeper, now at Nice. Really having a very good season over in France is Schmeichel. As France now gearing up to take this free kick, Griezmann in a position where he can pick out a teammate in and around the penalty area. He tries to loft the ball in towards Olivier Giroud, but he was the only man that was really able to be picked out. Still couldn't find him though, as France will restart now as Tchouameni finds Griezmann. There's options out wide. Theo Hernandez hugging the touchline. Kylian Mbappe dispossessed there in a dangerous area, and now Denmark can look to break on the counter. It's with Højbjerg. He's not the quickest of players, but he'll shift it further onto Cornelius, who might go for a range. He does, and it just flashes to the right hand side of the post there. A massive chance for Denmark to stun France on the counter attack. They can't make it count though. Cornelius with a good effort from a tight angle, but it just goes wide.
Yeah, really good counter attack. Højbjerg and Cornelius engineering it between themselves, and Højbjerg's ball through. All Cornelius could do there. The angle was slightly against him. He had to take that first time. He knew he didn't quite have the pace to get beyond the French defenders getting him back. It's Tchouameni who gets closest to him in the end, and he flashes his effort wide of the target. As I say, they worked it really well, Denmark, but they probably would have hoped two of their quicker players were on that counter-attack rather than Højbjerg and Cornelius.
Yeah, that's the danger of playing with a bigger, maybe slower target man, is them chances where you do find yourself with an unlikely counter-attack. You need them players in behind that can just threaten teams with sheer pace, the likes of Lindstrøm and Damsgaard, who are on the two wings. They were nowhere to be seen at that time of asking, but they still did pretty well with the chance, considering the circumstances, Denmark. But here come France once again. Dembele twisting and turning, causing all sorts of problems before delivering a ball towards the back post to Mbappe. He's, for the first time, ball into the box, a volleyed attempt to pick out Giroud, who almost finds the back of the net, and he's having chance after chance, Olivier Giroud, but that 50-second goal just isn't coming as he goes down, and the challenge maybe caused an injury to one or two of the defenders, but he almost gets that goal, was Giroud, but it was, in the end, always travelling wide.
Yeah, he tacks it really well. Olivier Giroud wanted it, and he jumps above. Nelson just can't guide the effort on target. It's a brilliant volley into the box as well, isn't it, from Kylian Mbappe. First time picking out the Giroud at the far post, and yeah, a decent opportunity. As you say, he's had 3 or 4 half openings. Giroud, nothing quite that he can really get his teeth into, but you can feel and sense that he's desperate to get that record-breaking 50-second goal.
Yeah, ball over the top now from Denmark, picking out Mæhle on this left-hand side. Once again, Ousmane Dembele tracking back to help out his defence. It's something that earlier on in his career he was sort of told he wasn't great at. He needed to work on that area of his game. He's tracking back and he's helping out of his defence, be more of a team player, and he's definitely taken that on board because he's been back every single time of asking as the ball comes into the area. Then a flashing delivery. It was really nice bit of skill out on the right hand side from Rasmus Christensen. He's enjoying a lot of joy down that right hand side as he just pokes the ball through the legs of Theo Hernandez, his opposite number, and flashes the ball into the box, but there was just nobody there to get on the end of it.
Yeah, he has been a good outlet over on the right for Denmark. They've looked a bit more dangerous on that side of the pitch when they have broke forward. We haven't seen too much of Joachim Mæhle on the left so far, getting upfield, and he was so impressive in the Euros last summer, wasn't he? The Atalanta left wing back. But Christensen's having a good game, and Denmark just showing that they're pinned back at times in this game, but they have shown enough to suggest that they can be a threat to France.
Yeah, they can, as France look to play out of a tight gap in their defence there, and just about managing to win a second ball after a 50-50 challenge. Griezmann helps it out towards Hernandez on the left-hand side. He's got Mbappe further on, but he's been brought to ground. The referee says no foul. Hernandez wanted the free kick, but Denmark will look to counter-attack here. It's once again wasted, but Christensen will pick it back up. He can't pick out a teammate. Griezmann get into the second ball, and he'll try and float one into the penalty area towards Olivier Giroud. Tried to take it down there, Giroud, with a bit of spectacular skill, but it wasn't going to work that time. It just rolls out for a throw on this near side, but it looked like we were going to be set up there for a trademark Olivier Giroud worldie. It looked like if he took that down there.
Yeah, if anyone can bring that down in that kind of style, coming over your shoulder when you've got a defender in close proximity, you'd back Olivier Giroud to do it. He just couldn't quite get hold of it on this occasion, but good play once again from Griezmann down the left-hand side. What's notable with him and Dembele in this game in particular is how hard they're working to get back as well.
Yeah, they are, and here is Dembele, gets the ball towards the edge of the box, and Kylian Mbappe, completely unmarked there, fires over the crossbar, similar to how he did against Australia. I mean, he had another great opportunity there to finish from about 3 yards, and he stuck it over the crossbar. Once again, he has to be doing better there. Dembele finds him with a picture-perfect ball, absolutely unmarked. That should be 1-0.
It should be. Possibly Dembele might have been offside when he was initially played through down the right, but neither he or Mbappe were to know that. And a player of Kylian Mbappe's quality, he's just got to control that, use the pace of the ball to guide it into the back of the net with his right foot, but he tries to strike it with power and he gets way underneath it. It's a really uncharacteristically poor finish.
Yeah, it is, as Denmark after that look to try and move forward, but Upamecano's gone down after trying to shield Cornelius away from the ball. He might be back to his feet just now, though, as you just see again Cornelius just catching the top of the foot of Upamecano, similar to how he got the yellow card for. He has to be careful, Cornelius, put in a couple of challenges even prior to being booked, so he has to watch his step slightly.
I don't know if we'll see Cornelius in the second half. I just think that it hasn't quite worked. He's had the best strike towards goal that Denmark have mustered in these opening 41 minutes, but there's a couple of challenges he's put in since he's been booked. He's struggled to get hold of the ball really in the general play, and I wonder if Kasper Hjulmand might just try something else in the second period. He's got a Dolberg, a Yusuf Poulsen on the bench who could potentially come on, and I'd imagine he must be considering that change at the very least.
Yeah, definitely is. He's also left out Andreas Skov Olsen, who started against Tunisia, a player who's been very, very lively this season over in Belgium. But for now, he'll have to wait for his chance on the bench. He's a player who could definitely come on and play down the middle to replace Cornelius. They've got a plethora of attacking talent, Denmark. They're just yet to find their right balance and right mix of players so far in this World Cup campaign, as the ball's drifted over towards the right hand side. Christensen with a first time volley pass, similar to Mbappe a minute ago. He can't quite make things work there, as his teammates let him down slightly with a poor first touch, as Griezmann tries to play out of trouble here. Just taking over the 42nd minute still. The scoreline remains France 0, Denmark 0, as Jules Koundé and Ousmane Dembele linking up nicely down this right hand side and going down under the challenge there. Not really sure who it might be, but it did look really nasty, rolling around on the floor after Jules Koundé puts in a challenge. He is going to be incidentally booked by the referee for that nasty attempt, but just waiting to see confirmation on who it was that went down. I think it may be Nelson who's gone down. It is Nelson who went down clutching the leg, so he looked in serious pain.
Yeah, he did, and first glance I wasn't sure if it was just a 50-50 coming together, but when you look at the replay, it's a similar kind of challenge to the Cornelius one earlier, where studs are slightly raised and he catches Victor Nelson on the top of the ankle. It's a painful one for the centre back. Hopefully he's okay. He's down receiving treatment on that right ankle and does look to be in quite a bit of distress. Koundé has offered his apology for the challenge, but yeah, Victor Nelson, he might be struggling to continue, judging by how much how they're looking to treat this injury and how painful it looked to be on the replays.
Yeah, exactly. He's only coming to the team to start today, and he may be not even making it to half time. He may have to be replaced, as we already mentioned. They've got the likes of Simon Kjær there, the country's captain, who may have to slot into that defensive line, but already alluded to his lack of playing time so far this season due to injury, so maybe bringing him on to play the remainder may not be the best idea, although you'd assume he'd be fit enough to play 45 minutes.
Yeah, you'd imagine so, and just looking at the Denmark bench, I mean, they're playing three centre-backs. Kjær's the fourth one on the bench. I know one or two players can fit in and potentially be square pegs in round holes, but the other defenders in that Danish squad are more full-backs, wing-backs, if you like. Thankfully, though, from the Danes' point of view, it looks like Victor Nelson is back on his feet and should be okay, and they'll be hoping he can get to half-time at the very least, where they can reassess. But the signs are looking positive.
Yeah, they are. Leave them in a spot of bother, having to rotate around. We know Rasmus Christensen can slot into centre-back if needs be, but certainly not a natural position for the Leeds man. As Koundé, who's just been booked now, has got the ball in his hands, taking a throw-in, can't find Giroud now, so it's picked up by Eriksson just on halfway. Really many options going forward, so he'll have to just settle things for now. Not really under any pressure though, so he's allowed all the time in the world here, Eriksson. He's still moving forward, and eventually he does go for goal from that sort of range. I mean, you can't really knock the effort when nobody's closing him down. He's getting closer and closer to goal. Why not go for it? But it wasn't the best of chances.
Yeah, he's 35 yards out. I think he's a little bit frustrated because of the lack of movement in front of him. He hasn't, I mentioned it earlier on, been able to get in the game and dictate play like we know Christian Eriksen can do. He's in that 2 in the middle of the park with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. We've seen him play in that 2 for Manchester United more often than not this season, but I just wonder if perhaps he needs a bit more freedom, someone to perhaps come in alongside Højbjerg and he can push further forward and really try and influence things for Denmark.
Yeah, they're back underway here, the Danes, as they pick up the loose ball from the Lloris goal kick, but France straight back into possession. Varane did really well battling there with Cornelius as he's unlocked Theo Hernandez down the left hand side. He's got an absolute acre to run into before finding Mbappe. Looked like he wanted the ball in the box there. Mbappe was looking for the options, not really any presenting. So Rabiot will now be in possession as France look to try and pass their way into the Denmark box. Mbappe now does go for the cross in the end, but it's a really poor delivery, probably the first bad one we've seen today, as he looks to pick out Olivier Giroud, just overhits it slightly. Kasper Schmeichel will let it roll out pretty comfortably for a goal kick.
Yeah, a little bit frustrated, Mbappe. He's had glimpses of, or he's showing glimpses of his quality so far in this game, but he's been a little bit upstaged by Dembele down the right, and Griezmann's caught the eye through the middle at times as well. It's still not a fully flowing French performance, is it, in the final third? But I mentioned earlier on, Didier Deschamps will be reasonably satisfied. I think both managers now going into the half-time break. Denmark have come back into it over the last 10-15 minutes. I think they'll both be reasonably satisfied and happy to reload and go again in the second half.
And the goal kick taken by Kasper Schmeichel was met by Upamecano, but Denmark straight back into possession. Good hold-up play from Cornelius to prevent loss of possession, and now it's out on this left-hand side with Mæhle. Goes in towards Damsgaard and receives it back there, Mæhle, but can't bring it down. Poor first touch there. It'll roll out for a France throw-in, and Denmark just struggling to make things tick here. They're disjointed passes that should be pretty comfortable aren't reaching their intended targets, and as Griezmann, with the first time volleyed switch over to the left-hand side, picks out Theo Hernandez pretty comfortably, but he can't take things down. Really good defending there from Rabiot, as it almost looked like Denmark were on for a counter-attack there, and now Theo Hernandez once again with an acre in front of him to run into. He offloads it to Mbappe, makes the overlapping run around the outside. Mbappe goes for goal, but it ricochets off the head of his actual teammate Olivier Giroud there, preventing Mbappe from getting the attempt on target. Completely accidental, but Giroud just stopping Mbappe from scoring. He's only just got back to his feet. Giroud maybe took a bit of a stinger to the face there. We'll have to wait for a replay on that bizarre interaction. But we just see here Kylian Mbappe cutting in on the right foot. He is definitely going for goal. It's not a cross. It does just hit Giroud maybe on the shoulder slightly or on the side of the head. Just a little bit unfortunate between the pair. As I think the referee has blown his whistle to signify the end of this first half. It's been an entertaining one. The only thing it's really been lacking is goal as we go into the break at France 0, Denmark 0.
conclusion because the second half is just getting back underway at Stadium 974 in Doha. We're bringing you independent off-tube studio commentary of this World Cup Group D clash between France and Denmark. As you were just hearing, it is goalless heading into the second 45, but delicately poised as well, both sides showing plenty of attacking endeavour. We've seen a change at the break as well, incidentally, and we did speculate about this during the first half. Andreas Cornelius, the central striker for Denmark, picked up a yellow card, looked to be slightly off the pace during the game as well. He's come off, and former Middlesbrough frontman Martin Braithwaite has come on. It's myself, Tom McGarry and Harry Jones talking you through this afternoon's coverage as France, going from right to left in this second half in their traditional blue colours, look to come forward with Kylian Mbappe, tries to flick it through to Adrien Rabiot, and Denmark scramble the ball clear. So Harry, the change has been made. Braithwaite, a more mobile centre forward, coming on in place of Cornelius, and you think probably that should help Denmark in their endeavours going forward in the second half.
Yeah, it looks like they weren't really playing to Cornelius' strengths, which would be hold-up play, headers into the penalty area, which is not something that they were planning on doing. They were looking to break on the counter-attack, move in transition very quickly. That definitely doesn't play to his strengths, so Braithwaite will definitely be a better striker to fit that sort of game plan, but they're definitely making use of the 26-man squad, aren't they, Denmark? They're using a lot of their players, not really sticking to the same mould that we see a lot of teams do in the group stage. It's really a time for teams to really settle down with their best 11 and not really make many changes, but definitely not for this Denmark side. They've used a whole flurry of their squad so far, and we're only 2 games in.
Shows there's plenty of depth at the disposal of Kasper Hjulmand. Braithwaite, very interesting club career. He's been at Middlesbrough, he's been at Barcelona, he's now at Espanyol in La Liga. France haven't made any changes, incidentally. They've still got Lloris in goal, Koundé on a yellow card, Varane, Upamecano and Theo Hernandez, the back four, Tchouameni and Rabiot in front of them, with Dembele, Griezmann and Mbappe supporting Olivier Giroud up front. For Denmark, Schmeichel in goal, Andersen, Andreas Christensen and Victor Nelson in defence. Christensen on a yellow card. Then it's Rasmus Christensen, Højbjerg, Eriksson and Mæhle in front of them, with Lindstrøm and Damsgaard now supporting Braithwaite up front. And with Braithwaite up there as well, there could be a good deal of rotation in that front three for the Danes, as they look to come forward with Joachim Mæhle down the left-hand side. Right-footed left wing back, he finds Eriksson. That's a really dangerous ball, whipped into the box from the left-hand side on the unfavoured left boot of Christian Eriksen. He still provided the quality, and ironically enough, Harry, had Andreas Cornelius still been on the pitch, he might have gotten the end of that.
Yeah, he definitely would have. We said that wasn't really the game plan they were going for, as the ball whipped into the air by Eriksen on, like you said, the unfavoured left foot. It was a fantastic delivery. It was just begging for somebody to get on the end of it, and if they did, it probably would have ended up in the back of the net, the way it was delivered into the box. But yeah, with Cornelius off the field now, Braithwaite wasn't really in the right position to finish it off. So definitely a better start to the second half for Denmark to how they finished the first. They were really under the cosh from France, but they look like they're coming out and trying to play a little bit more progressive, and they're not sitting as deep now.
Yeah, a little bit of a warning sign as well for the French, who were largely the better side during the opening 45, but we've got nothing to show for it in terms of the deadlock being broken. As Denmark look to come forward again, it's Lindstrøm driving through the centre of the pitch. There's so much space for Christensen on the right hand side. If Lindstrøm can find him, he never could quite get his head up or sort his feet out. The ball will now come to Rasmus Christensen inadvertently. He's still high up the pitch, and he flicks the ball against the heels of Theo Hernandez and wins the throw-in for his side. 4 minutes into the second half. Denmark starting the second 45 a lot brighter than they did the first, but it's France now looking to come forward. Griezmann releasing Mbappe down the left-hand side. Can he put the afterburners on? He's been covered by Andreas Christensen and Joachim Andersen as he makes his way towards the penalty area. Mbappe cross into the box. Dembele, difficult one to control. He gets it back towards Mbappe, but he'll run just about through to Kasper Schmeichel in the Denmark goal.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of that was intentional from Dembele. I think he was more so just trying to take the ball down, or just a little bit of a hit and hope there to try and direct it goalwards. Maybe a teammate would get on the end of it, and that's exactly what happened. Mbappe ever so close to just snatching it ahead of ahead of Kasper Schmeichel, but the goalkeeper was alert to the danger. He got out quickly and he made sure he shut it out before Mbappe could try and finish it off. But they looked so dangerous on the transition, France, there, as Mbappe was getting doubled up on by the two Denmark defenders, which definitely something that needs to happen. He's one of the best in the world, isn't he? So they're definitely noticing and respecting him and making sure that they're doubling up to make sure that they're shutting him out as soon as they can, because he looked so dangerous to get a ball in the box. Maybe one defender there, and he definitely wants to take them on. But with the two being stood there, he maybe just held himself up a little bit, tried to work it around the defenders rather than just running at them directly.
At the other end of the pitch, Brathwaite, the half-time substitute, has done well to win a corner for Denmark. I think Mbappe, with that chance at the other end, would have been flagged offside had he got it on the end of the inadvertent through ball from Ousmane Dembele. First corner of the match then, this for Denmark. Christian Eriksen standing over it. I mentioned set pieces might be crucial in this game. France have only had one corner as well so far in the piece. Giroud's back in his own penalty area to defend this Eriksen corner. Outswinger which is lofted towards the far post. It's sent back across goal. Decent header as well, but Hugo Lloris is quickly out of his penalty area to gather for France. That's good, effective goalkeeping from the Tottenham number one, and just takes the sting out of the Denmark pressure.
Yeah, it was a nice floated ball towards the back post. Like I said in the first half, they do have the aerial ability to finish it off, but that main man Cornelius now not on the field, so not quite the same threat from set pieces, but still they've got enough with the three centre halves on the pitch. They can all provide, like we've seen there, a bit of a trouble to France at the back, but they dealt with it well enough. France, Lloris came out, commanded his area, did well, snuffed out the danger, and now they're back in a period of pretty comfortable possession.
Yeah, it's Upamecano on the halfway line. The Bayern Munich defender feeds it out to Theo Hernandez. He plays it back to Upamecano, but it's a bit of a careless ball from Hernandez, so Upamecano has to drop deep to regather possession under no pressure from the Danish forward players. He'll shift it into Hugo Lloris now. Game almost at a walking pace. Varane seems to be coming through this game unscathed after, on his return from that hamstring injury. Lofted ball over the top now from Koundé, looking to release Antoine Griezmann in behind, but the referee's assistant has raised his flag, so it'll be a free kick for offside. 7.5 minutes into the second half. We're bringing you independent off-tube studio commentary. France 0, Denmark 0 as it stands. France will move on to 4 points and remain top of Group D, heading into their final fixture with Tunisia. Later, next Wednesday, it will be. Australia will face Denmark in the other game. Australia will be second as it stands, a point ahead of the Danes going into that contest. Denmark need to win this if they are to head into that fixture above Australia in the standings. As Kasper Schmeichel does some good sweeping up for Denmark, clearing the ball upfield. France will look to come again though with Theo Hernandez down the left-hand side. He'll feed it into Upamecano. It's one of those games, Harry, you just mentioned the permutations there. A draw's a decent result for France. They know they just have to beat Tunisia to then finish top of the group. Denmark, they don't want to risk going too gun-ho. They certainly don't want to lose this game, because they know as well if they then go on to beat Australia in their final group fixture that they'll almost be certain to qualify themselves.
Yeah, they will, and like you said, it's an interesting one. France, I think they'll definitely like to get it wrapped up today and make sure that they can go into Tunisia with an open mind, and they don't need to get any sort of result to finish top of the group. So they'll definitely want all 3 points today, and no side intentionally wants to lose or draw a game. Everyone plays to win usually. So I think for them, they'll definitely want to just get it all wrapped up so they can have a clear conscience. But Denmark, I think they really need to maybe either cling on for a draw or get the win themselves, because to go into that last game needing to beat Australia is definitely something that they won't want to do. They won't want that pressure so early on in the competition just to get out of the group, let alone do any better. So for a team like Denmark, like we said earlier, there are somebody's a lot of people's dark horses. They'll definitely want to get things wrapped up as soon as they can with as little and as less dramas as they can.
They've got a corner, the Danes, again on this right-hand side after some more good work by Martin Brathwaite. Eriksen again standing over it. Whips it with his right foot towards the far post once more. Rabiot's there to head clear. It's held back into the penalty area by Mæhle. Brathwaite will bring it down and strike towards goal. I'm not sure if the offside flag was raised. I think it was in the end, by the assistant. He did look like he was half a yard or so off there, Martin Brathwaite, when the ball was lofted back into the penalty area. It wasn't quite quick enough. There's two of them who don't get back on side. Either way, he couldn't provide the finish anyway because there was some good covering defending from Upamecano.
Yeah, it was a bit nervy there for France. I think a couple of hearts may have sank and they saw that ball go to Braithwaite, but he was offside, like you said, so it won't count anyway. But I still think he's got to do better there. The way it came down, he took it down fairly nicely. He just looked like he didn't want to shoot. I'm not sure why. He just needs to get the ball out of his feet there and try and get a go on goal. But like we said, it wouldn't have counted anyway. But I still think it wasn't the best way he took it down.
This is better though from Denmark. They're coming forward again. Damsgaard's cross down the right. This time won't find Brathwaite. Varane makes sure of that. But this has been a promising start to the second half from Kasper Hjulmand's side. France though are in possession. Rabiot coming it forward. Lovely turn by Mbappe, and he's going to get away from Joachim Andersen. He's going to be running at Andreas Christensen, who's on a yellow card. Mbappe into the penalty area, strikes left-footed, and Kasper Schmeichel is forced to reach high to his right-hand side and tip it over for a corner.
Yeah, it's a good reaction save there from Schmeichel, but Mbappe looking so dangerous. He broke past the first player, a beautiful spin to lose Andersen. Andersen being left with egg on his face there as he tries another nibble at the ankles, and Mbappe still misses him. And like we said, that electric pace, and then he's away, isn't he? They've got to try and come across and cover for him, but everyone's just backing away. You don't want to commit to a challenge on a player like Mbappe because you never know what he's going to do next. But I think with the chance on goal, I think he maybe has to do a little bit better there. Just snatches at it slightly.
Griezmann standing over this corner for France. It's an out swinger. Poor delivery though from the Atletico Madrid man, cleared away comfortably enough by Christensen at the front post, and a shake of the head in disappointment from Antoine Griezmann. But this game is certainly starting to bubble up nicely at the beginning of this second half. We've already seen more set piece opportunities and efforts towards goal from both teams since the restart. Theo Hernandez standing over this throw in then for France, 10 yards or so inside the Denmark half. Giroud offering down the line, as is the header there from Rabiot, who goes back towards Hernandez. He's pressed back into his own half, and Upamecano will switch the ball out to the right-hand side where France will chance their arm with Koundé. He goes infield to Aurélien Tchouameni. France 0, Denmark 0 as we tick down towards the hour mark in this World Cup Group D contest. Hernandez into Tchouameni once more. Højbjerg pressing, clipping at their heels, but so was Christensen, and he's been penalised for a foul on Theo Hernandez, who has a look of disgust on his face as he makes his way back to his feet. France have got on with proceedings. Koundé down the right into the feet of Dembele. Haven't seen as much of Ousmane Dembele in the start of this second half as we did during the first. He was the one real creative outlet on either side during that opening 45. Varane into Giroud. Tchouameni inside the centre circle with a bit of pace to drive forward. Finds Olivier Giroud again. His little turn can't quite find Dembele. Danish player goes down looking for a free kick, I think, but it's not forthcoming, and France will come again, this time down the left with Theo Hernandez, probing at the moment the reigning world champions without really hurting Denmark. Everything's in front of the Scandinavians as Tchouameni again out to the right hand side. Now there's a bit of space for Dembele to run into. He's away from Damsgaard, onto his left foot, feeds it into Mbappe, who tries a trick on the edge of the area. Denmark just about scramble it away. Christensen now down the right should complete the clearance, but that would have been something special had Kylian Mbappe managed to flick that between the two Danish defenders.
He's always looking like he's going to do something special, Mbappe, and like we see there, a bit of magic to try and flick it through the legs of the Danish defence and break him behind. It's smart the way he flicks the ball and then turns the other way to try and nick a yard away from the defenders, but it's fallen to Griezmann here.
Yeah, chance for Antoine Griezmann, best opening of the game, but he blazes his effort over the top of the crossbar. It's a lofted ball forward from a central area by Tchouameni. Griezmann with the run. It's Mailer, I think, who switches off the left wing back, allows Griezmann to drift in. Nelson can't deal with it, and Griezmann in behind on the half volley. Perhaps had more time than he realises. He rushes the effort, tries to side foot it on the half volley and sends it way over the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, everything was perfect there from Griezmann, apart from the finish. Did really well. The movement there completely catches out Nelson, who thinks Griezmann's gone for a running behind. He thinks, I've got all the time in the world to take this down, as we just break away here.
Yeah, Denmark might have a chance at the other end, but the final ball out towards Mailer on the left-hand side just lacked a little bit of quality, and Koundé is able to clear upfield. But the game is starting to come alive. France have had 14 attempts in this game, only 3 on target. I can't really remember many of those 14. Denmark just 2 shots, and they're still yet to trouble Hugo Lloris. So that shows that France have seen the majority of it in this game, but Denmark have been showing 1 or 2 signs in this second half that they're starting to grow into the contest. But it's France coming forward now. Hernandez, plenty of space down the left-hand side. He finds Mbappe. That should send the alarm bells ringing for Denmark. Hernandez continues his run back into Mbappe, and the ball's in the back of the net. And Kylian Mbappe, with the game just ticking beyond the hour mark, has put the world champions in front.
Yeah, and it was coming, wasn't it? France knocking at the door, and it's that man. He's magical, Kylian Mbappe, and the way he receives the ball from Hernandez, the 1-2, and then the second 1-2 comes at the edge of the on the byline. Hernandez does really well. I think he's timed his run right. There were calls for offside. I'm not sure if he was or not. We'll have to take another look, but it's magical from the pair down this left-hand side who have linked up time and time again today and finished off cool, calm, and collected by Mbappe. He's the talisman for this France side, and it's clear to see he's progressing in his career. He's got an upward trajectory. He's still so young, but he's so magical, and like I said earlier, he always looks like he's going to do something magic when he gets on the ball, and he finally got France ahead, and they're firing themselves towards the top of this group, and they look like they're going to progress pretty comfortably towards the last 16.
Yeah, it's a wonderful move between Hernandez and Mbappe. Not the cleanest strike in the end from the PSG man, but he squeezes it between the defenders, just takes a nick off Andreas Christensen on the way through, which might just take it beyond the outstretched dive of Kasper Schmeichel, but a really good counter-attack from France down the left-hand side between Hernandez and Mbappe. Mbappe's 30th goal for his country as well. Olivier Giroud's level, of course, with Thierry Henry as France's all-time record scorer on 51. You'd imagine that Mbappe would obliterate that record by the time he finishes his career, just 21 behind and counting as it stands, as Giroud is now going to be replaced, wrapped up in cotton wool perhaps for the games to come, and Marcus Thuram, who was a late call-up to the squad, the Borussia Mönchengladbach player, son of Lilian Thuram, France World Cup winner in 1998, who's watching on in the stands today, but Thuram is on to play up front for the final half an hour or so.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Giroud couldn't wrap up that goal record. He had chances time and time again in the first half to do so. I can see why they brought him off. He's felt a little bit stagnant in the second half, not really been involved in the action, has he? And I think the change was needed to come. Now they've gone 1-0 up, they can afford to bring on Thuram to have something a little bit different in that front line. They've got plenty of options in the attacking area, have France. I mean, we know that a couple of players can play out of position. Kingsley Coman could come in, and Mbappe can go up front. They've got Kolo Muani, who's having a great season this year, and they've got them options. But Thuram's come on now. He'd love to grab a goal, wouldn't he? Like you said, a late call-up. It'd be nice for him to grab a goal, his first World Cup goal for France, so that'll be something special for him.
Yeah, it'll be his first goal, full stop, for France. Just his 6th appearance, the Mönchengladbach player. France then leading by a goal to nil, and as it stands will be advancing through to the knockout stages. They'll be the first team to confirm their place as well in the round of 16. 2 wins from 2 it would be. Still a long way to go, though, in this match, particularly when you factor in all the added on time we've been having in games at this World Cup as well. We're probably looking at another 35 minutes or so of action. Denmark certainly don't need to panic at this stage. If they lose this game, they're not out of the World Cup, but it would mean they'd need to beat Australia in their final group game and make sure that the goal difference and things keeps them in front of Tunisia. That's if Tunisia were to surprise France in that final group fixture as well. So France 1, Denmark 0. Rasmus Christensen with a throw-in for Denmark down the right-hand side. The Danes, of course, lost their opening 2 group games at Euro 2020 last summer, went on to qualify and get all the way through to the semi-finals. So this is not uncharted territory for Kasper Hjulmand and his team. But, Harry, they need to show more. We've seen better of them at the start of this second half, but they still need to offer more in the final third.
Yeah, they do. I mean, things just haven't worked their way as we just break off for a second.
Yeah, Thuram might be in behind it. Mbappe trying to play it through. There's a nudge in the back of Marcus Thuram and 1 or 2 inquisitive looks towards the referee. Simon Marcinac, who was not interested. Play goes on with Denmark now in possession. Christensen down the right-hand side. So he's been a good outlet in this game for the Danes. Tries to feed it through to Damsgaard, but that will go behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's fallen a little bit flat in this second half. Every time they've looked like moving forward, I don't think the change up front has really done anything. I mean, Braithwaite's done next to nothing since coming on, and maybe it's a little bit harsh on him as they haven't really had the possession to make anything work, so he's almost a lost cause up front there. But just see a replay now of the goal. It's a beautifully taken chance there from Mbappe, and he also caught a quick glimpse of the challenge on Marcus Thuram from Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and so then there was a couple of looks towards the referee. Thuram himself didn't really make much of a claim, so I think he knew there wasn't really much in it, but it was almost similar to the Mbappe incident on the halfway line, which saw a booking be given out to the Denmark defender. So a couple of chances that were similar, but Thuram that time didn't really claim, so I don't think he thought it was a foul.
Yeah, I think he was just slightly off balance when he got a little nudge from Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, but not enough really for a free kick to be given. Referee getting that one right, hasn't had too much of a difficult game so far. The Polish official, nothing too major for him to deal with. We'll be hoping that remains the same between now and the final whistle. There's some lovely footwork down the right hand side by Lindstrom, and the cross into the box is a really good one as well for Denmark. France struggling to clear their lines. Eventually it is nick clear, but that's the first real moment of quality we've seen from the Danes going forward. It was Jesper Lindstrom down the right, the cross, the turn, everything was sublime, except there was no one quite to get on the end of it.
Yeah, it was a beautiful moment of magic there from Lindstrom, and that's what he can inject to this side, and we haven't seen enough of it today from Denmark. Haven't seen the wingers really get too much of the action. Lindstrom on this right hand side, but he showed there what he can do, and he was begging for somebody to meet it in the penalty area, but nobody was swimming around. France struggling to clear their lines, like you said, but they come forward once again.
Yeah, Lindstrom into the penalty area, drives it into the 6-yard box. He'll get a second bite of the cherry. The first cross blocked by Upamecano, but it looks like the ball had already gone out of play, so it will be a corner for Denmark. Important defending from Deyat Upamecano, but Jesper Lindstrom is looking the most likely of those Denmark forward players to create something in this game. They'll be looking to try and get him the ball as much as they can in these remaining minutes of the contest. Christensen's forward from the back. Victor Nelson's in there as well. What can Christian Eriksen provide with his latest delivery from the set piece? It's a decent ball. Heads go up. Anderson's there, and there's a ball. It's in the back of the net, and Denmark have their equaliser. Andreas Christensen up from the back, bullets his header into the roof of the net. They weren't behind for long. It's France 1, Denmark 1.
Yeah, it's a beautiful way to turn things around. They've had the opportunities as of late, haven't they? They've been piling on the pressure in the last 5 or so minutes, and they've got the goal that they maybe deserved in the last 5 or so minutes. You thought that other chance deserved a goal, but they've finally got it. 60th appearance for the Danish national side, and Andreas Christensen gets up with the header. So you just take a look at the replay there. It's a beautiful ball in from Eriksen. It's helped on initially by I think it's Anderson, who gets the flick on. He does really well to beat the defenders in the air, and Christensen at the back post. Rabiot's caught napping there, and Christensen just wanted it more, didn't he? He got his head down. Rabiot goes with the foot, goes straight past Lloris, a little bit too close for the goalkeeper to really make a difference, but yeah, fine in the back of the net, and now we've got a game on our hands.
Yeah, brave heading from Christensen, stooping header with Rabiot's boot up, but he wanted it more, it seems. The Barcelona defender, I was going to say Chelsea defender, but he of course left them during the summer, and he's got his goal, and that has restored parity in this game. France 1, Denmark 1. 7 minutes between the two goals. We have gone beyond the midway point in this second half as well, and those two relatively quick fire goals have really set this game up nicely, although we are technically back to where we were. France 1, Denmark 1. To take you through to the full-time whistle, I'll hand you over to Harry.
Yeah, it's only 7 minutes between the two goals, so not a very long lead that France had. They're now back to square one. They've got to go again as we see them break forward here. Really good play there by Koundé to find Dembele out on the right hand side. He's skipping and turning away from Denmark defenders, but he's stopped eventually in his tracks by Højbjerg, who hooks the ball clear, and then a header on there by Braithwaite trying to pick out on the left hand side Damsgaard, but it can only go out for a France throw. And like I said, France have got to go again and try and grab another goal. It's still there for the taking for Denmark to go out and win the game. They've shown now that they can score the goals that they need, and well, it's their first goal of the tournament, so they'll be happy to get underway and get off the mark. And it was a great header as well to pick out there. They just show the desire and the want to get that goal there more than France. France just caught napping, poor defending as a ball over the top, looking for the running behind of Marcus Thuram does really well to keep it in by the corner flag, but Joachim Andersen, the Crystal Palace defender, comes across and snuffs it out only as far as a France throw, which Mbappe is going to take quickly. Sprints over to take it as Rabiot receives it from the throw, but he can't do anything. Poor first touch from him, didn't really take the ball down, and Kasper Schmeichel will settle things down with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, into the final 20 minutes then. It's anyone's guess now which way this game will go. Didier Deschamps was really frustrated that France weren't able to hold on to that lead. They hadn't looked like conceding really in the match before that set piece, but crediting Denmark, they've fought their way back into the contest, and maybe now they've got that goal, their first of the tournament, it might finally start settling them down, because we haven't seen the best of Denmark in the best part of 2 games now in Qatar.
Very true, as they now maybe have a bit of a lifeline, and now their kick-start of their tournament, maybe it all starts here for Denmark as France look to move forward. It's good play in the middle there with Tchouameni, and now he finds Mbappe out on the left-hand side. He's got options in the middle, trying to twist and turn away from Andersen. Does deliver a ball towards the 6-yard box, but nobody was attacking it. Thuram was behind the defence, and Kasper Schmeichel will claim it pretty comfortably before just taking his time, rolling the ball out. He's got the captain's armband for this game, and I'm sure he will have it for one of the games that Simon Kjær doesn't feature, as he is the vice-captain of the national side, as Nelson brings the ball forward, drops it in towards Eriksson, looks to twist and turn away from Rabiot. Højbjerg now had his head up, looks for the ball out towards the right-hand side, and now Rasmus Christensen goes in towards the heart of the defence, and forced into playing backwards and towards Christensen, who gives it to Eriksson, and now out wide to the left-hand side. It's out there with Damsgaard, who's looking to twist and turn away from oncoming defenders. He can't manage to make anything work, so they're going to go forward here, Denmark, and it's a bit slower play, but they're holding on to possession pretty well, and they'll be happy with how they're working it now, with Christensen over to the left-hand side. Nelson. It's France are camped back pretty deep now to try and weather the storm. They're looking to throw bodies forward now and potentially go out and lose the game.
Yeah, because a draw, as we mentioned earlier on, although France won't confirm their passage through by picking up a point, it keeps on top of the group. It means they know they just have to beat Tunisia in their final game, whereas if they were to lose this game, it would just shift the dynamic slightly, as Denmark have an opportunity. The shot is saved by Hugo Lloris, who reacts angrily to his defenders. It was a decent strike towards a goal as well. I can quite see who the Danish player was. I think it was might be Mæhle actually making his way into penalty area, or Lindstrøm, I think it is, who strikes towards goal, and Lloris reacts quickly to his left-hand side.
Yeah, it's a good instinct save there from Hugo Lloris to deny Lindstrøm. But you just got to ask questions as to why the ball was able to get to Lindstrøm in such an open area. He had all the time in the world to take that shot, as Kasper Dolberg is making his way onto the field. Didn't quite catch the player who he will be replacing. To wait and see with that one, as the ball is delivered in from the corner, headed away there by Raphael Varane. It's dropped out towards Rasmus Christensen. Now Eriksson will receive it back, tries to play it into the feet of Andersen. He gets it back with a fortunate bobble off Marcus Thuram, but he can't make the opportunity count as he goes for goal there, Eriksson. But they'll have to go all the way back now, as it is Damsgaard that went off for Kasper Dolberg, so I'm sure they will go with Braithwaite out on the left-hand side now, just drifting across to allow Dolberg to slot through the middle. But another attacking change, so it shows Denmark are definitely going to go for the win here. Yeah,
not surprised it's Damsgaard who's come off. He's been very much on the periphery of the game, as France also preparing a couple of substitutes to go on. But as you say, Dolberg, who's kind of a mix between Braithwaite and Cornelius, will go through the middle, and Braithwaite will move out to one of the wings.
Yeah, Raphael Varane going off to be replaced by Ibrahima Konate now. I'm not surprised about that. Probably just managing Raphael Varane's minutes after his return from injury. I don't want to throw him out for a full 90 just yet. Just ease him back into a full 90, and he's going to be replaced by Konate. The second substitution, Kingsley Coman coming on to replace Ousmane Dembele. Dembele's had a very bright game, but when your competition's up against Kylian Mbappe, I think there's only one player that's going to be taken off there.
Yeah, and he's slightly faded out of the game in this second half, not being as influential as he was during the first, where he looked like the one player really for France who was creating things. But as you say, when you're in direct competition, to stay on the field with Kylian Mbappe, you're not likely to win that battle.
No, it's Always going to be a hard battle to try and win. You'd have to have a blinded performance to get taken off after killing Mbappe, but the goal scorer stays on. Dembele goes off. He looked bright in the first half. Didn't quite click in this second, but interesting to see whether Kingsley Coman can make a difference. The Bayern Munich winger, as they look to throw bodies forward now. France, as a crossfield ball comes in from Tchouameni. Can't pick out a teammate, but it's fallen to Theo Hernandez. The AC Milan left back links up nicely with Griezmann and Mbappe. Now it's back with Griezmann once again. Just drifting forward now before finding Thuram. He's got Mbappe out wide as an option. He does pick out the PSG striker. And Mbappe tries to take on a couple of defenders there. Nelson came across the cover. He couldn't do anything other than just stab the ball out. I think it was actually Rasmus Christensen who stabbed the ball out for a corner. So France have another opportunity to get bodies in the box now.
Yeah, he stood up well there, Christensen. He was aware he's in his own penalty area and just hooked out a left foot to turn it behind for the corner, because it's so dangerous when you're a defender up against Kylian Mbappe in the penalty area. You don't want to take any chances.
Yeah, Griezmann standing over the corner, be a left-footed outswing and delivery. This time it does go towards the penalty spot. Well defended by Denmark. Rabiot was arriving and waiting, looking to get on the end of it. Now Mbappe have another chance to swing a ball in the box. It'd be a left-footed one, headed away by Nelson, only as far as Konate on halfway. And now they'll look to restart here, France, from back to front. It is helped out towards Konate on this left-hand side. Now Griezmann, he's got Theo Hernandez in support. Mbappe's not on his usual left-hand side. He's playing right up alongside Marcus Thuram. Actually on the right-hand side now, and here he is, Mbappe. So the left-hand side looking pretty bare for France, so they're going to have to go down the right if they're going to make anything work, and that's exactly what they're doing. Kingsley Coman drops it in towards Rabiot, and now Koundé will help it further on down the line. Kingsley Coman looking to take on Nelson here. He's twisting and turning away, trying to just hold on to possession before Joachim Mæhle comes across to support his fellow defender. Coman with the throw in quickly. Here he is once again. Now it's with Rabiot in a nice pocket of space. He gets to the byline, tries to deliver the ball in the box. Maybe should have gone with the right foot there, forced it a little bit too much onto his left, but he's won inside a corner. Yeah, France fighting back into this game after being slightly stunned by the Denmark equaliser. We're into the final 15 minutes now of the 90. The game does feel like there's a winner in it. It looks like both sides are still very much going for it, and you wouldn't be surprised if either side went on to nit this. It's there to be taken. Just begs the question, which side can do it, as Griezmann delivers another corner, left-footed in-swinging ball. It's a really good delivery and a really good header. Getting up at the back post was Tchouameni, and I think it took a nick off a defender on its way to goal, because the referees pointed to the corner flag. Yeah, it took a nick off the back of a Denmark defender. It was Joachim Mæhle who incidentally made the deflection. He had no idea about it. It came off his back, on the back of the shoulder blade, but Tchouameni with a real good chance to win it.
Yeah, and he was scoring, wasn't he? I don't think Kasper Schmeichel was getting anywhere near that diving header from Tchouameni. Sumptuous delivery from Antoine Griezmann. Mæhle, good, lucky defending, whichever way, he kept the ball out.
Yeah, another corner comes in. It was a third corner of the trio, and it's only made its way towards the back post. Coman once again with another ball in the box. Getting up for the header was Koundé. Is it going to be a fourth corner we're going to see? I think it will be, as the players are arriving in the penalty area. France piling on the pressure now. Yeah,
they're turning the screw. Koundé got up really well there above Joachim Andersen, but couldn't get a clean head on it. It actually came off the shoulder in the end and went wide of the target from the Barcelona man. But yeah, France are knocking on the door. They're looking for that winning goal. They want to wrap up group stage qualification right here, right now.
They do, and can they do it here from the fourth corner in around about 2 minutes here from Antoine Griezmann? He delivers another sumptuous ball into the box. Kasper Schmeichel can only punch away, but Mbappe picks things back up. Theo Hernandez delivers another ball in towards the back post, and it's an audacious attempt from Adrien Rabiot with an overhead kick. Wow, what a goal that would have been if it ended up in the back of the net. Just flashes over the crossbar.
Oh, we saw a spectacular acrobatic goal from Richarlison for Brazil a few days ago. That would have been even better had Rabiot found the target. He gets a really good clean connection, watches the ball all the way from Hernandez onto that left boot, but yeah, caught a bit too cleanly in the end, and it whistled over the top of Kasper Schmeichel's crossbar.
Denmark looking to play out from the back here, and I'm sure they want to just settle things down now after a frantic 5 or so minutes for the Danes, in which they've defended for their lives to try and preserve this draw that they're currently sitting on. They'll essentially love to go on and win the game, but And now I don't think that's really on their mind. Stopping France scoring is at the forefront of most of these players. Thinking as Rasmus Christensen ricochets the ball off the foot of Thuram, and he will take the incidental throw afterwards, as looks as though Mbappe is pushed further up the field now and will be playing it down the middle with Thuram operating on this left hand side. So France really trying to turn the screw now as the ball goes into the box from Dolberg, and almost another massive opportunity. Braithwaite tries to get on the end of it as Dolberg fires a really nice ball in towards the front post, and it's millimetres away from squeezing in at the near post there from Braithwaite.
Yeah, I think he just kisses the post, doesn't it? From yeah, just the outside of Hugo Lloris's left-hand post. That was heading into the corner. Well, he wouldn't have been kept out by Lloris had it been on target. But we're having so many chances now at both ends in this game. It's really opened up, and you've got to give credit to both sides. They're not sitting back on their laurels. They're going for this. They both desperately want the win.
Yeah, it's making for a really entertaining fixture, and I'm sure we'll be in for another entertaining 10 minutes to close out the game with however much additional time we'll have added on. We know there could be a lot now with the new FIFA ruling with the referees and adding on minutes at the end. Sure, many went down under the challenge there from Eriksson, I think it was, as it seems as though he's in a bit of bother, Shermany. He did win the free kick, but we're just waiting to see whether he will be okay to continue. It's actually Rabiot who catches him, so it's his own teammate. I'm not sure if the referee may have just stopped the game there just to see if he was okay. I think that's definitely not a free kick, because it was his teammate who injured him.
Yeah, it's a knee into the rib from Rabiot on Tchouaméni as he jumped for the ball. A bit of a lack of communication perhaps between the pair, and inadvertently, Tchouaméni has taken the blow. Hopefully it's just he's just a bit winded as he gets back to his feet. It could have been quite nasty though there for the midfielder, and he is back up, and yeah, it looks like he is just winded and should be okay to continue.
Yeah, it'll be a big blow to lose a player like Tchouaméni, signed for Real Madrid in the summer from Monaco in Liga, and well, he started both games of this World Cup campaign. Seems to be in Didier Deschamps' plans moving forward. One of the players that has slotted in the absence of the likes of Pogba and Kante. And he is back to his feet, so no worries there for Deschamps as he's running back onto the field and play is back underway. It's with Lindstrom on this right hand side, goes back in towards Højbjerg, who switches play towards the left, and they'll look to play back here as Braithwaite couldn't find a forward option. Denmark happy to settle things down now, and I'm not sure they'll be in too much of a rush to throw bodies forward to frantically grab a winner. I think if they're going to get one, it'll come pretty naturally as Christensen helps it down the line towards Lindstrom. A nice flick from him to try and beat Kanate. It's Upamecano on this near side, who does really well to just hold off the incoming challenge from Lindstrom, just ushers the ball out for a goal kick.
The only thing from Denmark's point of view is they possibly could go for this if they really wanted to, because the draw or the defeat doesn't make too much difference. They still have to beat Australia in their final game. The only reason the draw's better than a defeat, besides the obvious things, is because it just means they have to watch out for Tunisia as well. If Tunisia were to cause a shock and beat France in the final group game, then potentially goal difference could come into it. But from a Denmark point of view, if you're weighing up the risks and reward, you feel they can probably afford, in a strange way, to throw a bit more caution to the wind.
Yeah, it's an intriguing matchup, and something that makes the World Cup so great, with all the ways that teams can go out and stay in, and what results they need as a ball's flashed into the area by Rasmus Christensen, headed away by Tchouaméni, picked up by Eriksson, falls really kindly to Højbjerg, who has a go from range, but never going to trouble his fellow teammate at Tottenham in Hugo Lloris there, as he just drags the shot slightly, doesn't quite catch it nicely, as it looks like Brentford midfielder Norgard is going to come on to replace Lindstrom. So another change for Denmark, and maybe a little bit more of a conservative one.
Yeah, and that goes against the point I was trying to make there. Maybe Kasper Hjulmand is going to settle for the point. Of course, there's the psychological boost of getting a draw against the world champions as well. But Lindstrom goes off. He's had a decent game, particularly in this second half, and Norgard will go on. You'd imagine he'll be in there alongside Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. It might just give a little bit more license for Christian Eriksen to get forward in these final 5 minutes or so, but primarily I think it does look like a more pragmatic change.
Yeah, they'll probably slot to the two up front now, playing alongside each other, which you'd think if they were going to go for a win, you'd need them wing backs in Mela and Christensen bombing forward to provide any sort of wide threat as the ball over the top is a really good one. Looking for Kingsley Coman now. He brings it down nicely, cuts back on the left foot. He falls it out to Griezmann, who gets one towards the back post, and it's helped into the back of the net by that man once again, Kylian Mbappe. He may have just won it for France at the death.
Yeah, Griezmann with a brilliant ball in from the right-hand side, and there's a couple of French players in at that far post, a few defenders as well, but Kylian Mbappe wanted to get there. He had the desire, and I'm not sure what body part he ends up turning it home with, but he makes sure he gets something on it and finds the back of the net, and France are back in front this time. There's less than 5 minutes of the 90 remaining, and they're believing now that they're going to be the first side to book their place in the knockout stages.
Yeah, massive goal for Kylian Mbappe. His 14th in his last 12 games for France. More than a goal a game from Kylian Mbappe. He really is fantastic. What a talent he is. He's finished it off so coolly. It's really good play by Kingsley Coman out on the right-hand side to open up the space for Griezmann, and it's a really inviting delivery to the back post. Schmeichel's clambering across his goal line to try and get there, but he's never going to stop that man, Kylian Mbappe, from turning it home with what looks like his hip sort of chest area. It doesn't really matter what it comes off sort of the quad. It doesn't matter what it comes off as long as it ends up in the back of the net, and he won't mind that it's come off the quad. It's probably not one of the best goals he's ever scored in his career, but it doesn't matter, they all count, and it's a massive goal for France in their bid for the World Cup.
Yeah, and it just underlines his desire. He was just about on the side, timed his run to perfection. If VAR has had a check that it's past the offside protocol because play has resumed, but it was all about the desire of Kylian Mbappe. You look at the replays there, it looks like it hits a different body part from every angle, but it doesn't matter. He's got the ball in the back of the net, and he, at the moment, is France's match winner.
It is. And can it stay that way, or can Denmark come back for the second time and shock the current world champions with Joachim Andersen looking to move forward here, fires one in towards Dolberg. He finds Christensen, who delivers a ball in towards the box. It's a teasing delivery if somebody was there, but it was absolutely nobody to be seen. Braithwaite was half making an attempt to get there, but Hugo Lloris will claim that pretty comfortably, hit the deck and waste a couple of minutes. Yeah,
Lloris happy to run down the clock. He's had a decent game, actually. The France goalkeeper hasn't been called upon too often, but he has made a couple of important saves. You look at that one from Lindstrom 10-15 minutes ago that looks even more important now. But Denmark mentioned they might have considered throwing caution to the wind at 1-1. They definitely will want to now to try and get themselves a point and get back into this game. The goal coming at a really bad time for them just after they'd made that slightly more defensive change with Norgard coming on.
It's now with Mela on the left-hand side, helps it back in towards Nelson, and now Denmark once again build up play slightly slower than the likes of France, who love to hit fast on the counter-attack, but they're happy to bide their time and wait for an opening. They haven't got much time left to do so, so they will need to maybe kick into third or fourth gear here, as it is helped out towards Christensen. He now finds Norgard, back in towards Christensen once again. Splitting ball to pick out Andersen on the edge of the box. He looked to go for one from range there, but he didn't manage to get it off cleanly. It ricocheted off a France body, and it looked like Kingsley Coman was trying to progress forward here with a counter-attack, but France happy to slow things down now. Probably the smarter option, just by a couple of seconds, run down the clock. As Kylian Mbappe, it's beautiful from him there to take on Rasmus Christensen. He got the advantage after Christensen stuck out a leg, but nobody can get near him.
They can't. He was actually frustrated just before that because Coman hadn't played the ball over the top. He would have had the freedom of the Danish half to run into, and he's got the pace to beat the defenders to the ball, so he wasn't happy there. He wants a hat-trick in this game, but France are preparing another substitution, it seems, down on the touchline. Couldn't quite see who it was who's potentially coming on, but maybe Didier Deschamps might even consider taking Mbappe off at this stage just to make sure he is okay for the games to come.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the worst idea to rest a couple of the more important players in his side. Now they've got it seems as though they've got the 3 points in the bag, unless Denmark can spoil the party for the second time, and it would be fantastic effort to do so against the world champions, as Koundé drops it back in towards Chouameni. There is a France substitution, like you said, waiting to come on the touchline, but the ball hasn't gone out of play for the best part of 2 or 3 minutes now, so we're still waiting as France are almost just in first gear now. Everyone walking around. It's almost like they're training, and Denmark not really putting any sort of pressure on them. They don't look like a side who are chasing a game desperately for 3 points. It looks as though the Danes are almost already defeated and given up, as France just playing it from left to right, but that's a really poor pass there from Upamecano, and they've given the ball away in a dangerous area. Eriksson will look to float one in towards the penalty area. Nobody was home though, as it just fell a little bit too deep for any of the Denmark defenders. And now a ball over the top has found Kylian Mbappe, and he's in behind the defence now. He'll go for a volley from the edge of the box. You think maybe could have taken another touch there, but tried to catch out Kasper Schmeichel. And, well, just one ball over the top. It was almost a clearance that turned into a nice assist, but he couldn't finish it off.
He couldn't, and, if France don't win this game, then one or two of his teammates may be looking at Kylian Mbappe. Didier Deschamps might have a word or two to say, because he should have brought that down. He should have been driving towards goal and taking a much easier chance than looking to smash it on the volley from the edge of the area. He had Thuram in support as well, who had a little bit of an inquisitive look towards his teammates after that, but from a spectacle, as a neutral, I quite like seeing Kylian Mbappe try that from there, the audacious, and had that flown into the back of the net. What a way it would have been to bring up your hat-trick.
Yeah, he's blockbuster, isn't he, Kylian Mbappe, the way he plays and the things he tries, as Denmark looks to come forward now. A really nice passage of play. Eriksson slots one into Braithwaite, who just flicks it back looking for the run of Højbjerg, but a little bit of miscommunication as Højbjerg didn't carry on his run, so it will be broken down there pretty promptly, as Shermany does really well in the middle of the park to win the ball back, and eventually the ball does go out, so we will see a change. And we also did have 6 additional minutes of added time to bring, as in the thick of the action. Didn't manage to mention that, as we are almost 2 minutes through those extra 6 minutes, and Denmark are the first ones to make a change. Bar is coming on to be to replace. I'm just waiting for the confirmation on who Bar is replacing, as we also get confirmation finally from the new technology of the VAR informing us that Kylian Mbappe was indeed onside. Rasmus Christensen playing on just by about an arm, as Griezmann is the man to be replaced, and Fofana is going to come on in the middle of the park. So a defensive change from Didier Deschamps just to see out the win.
Yeah, just waiting confirmation as well of the Denmark change. We saw that Alexander Bar was coming on. Christensen's the man to come off. So yeah, right wing back Bar, like for like swap there. Just fresh legs for the Danes. I think, to be fair, Christensen's played pretty well in his money. Although Mbappe scored 2 goals, I think he did keep him relatively quiet, or as quiet as you can keep him as an opposition defender, and he was an outlet down that right hand side going forward for Denmark as well.
Yeah, he was. He's had his critics at Leeds this season after a bit of a poor start to life in the Premier League, but going forward today you can't really fault anything Christensen's done. Supported the attack really nicely, and the few attacks that they've had against the world champions, as they're back in possession here with Anderson. He helps it across halfway, picks out Højbjerg. That's with Norgard under pressure there from Marcus Thuram, but can't make it count, as Denmark stay in possession here for the best part of a minute or two now. They've had the ball as we've ticked over the 93rd minute of the 6th additional. Still in possession, Denmark, as they're slowly just working the ball from left to right. France camped back in almost 2 lines of 5 now in front of the goalkeeper, but it is with now Nelson. Drops it in towards Christensen as he drifts the ball over towards this right hand side, and now Bar will have a chance to take on the defence here. He plays a really nice ball into Eriksson, tries to backheel it in towards Bar once again. Bar will retain possession, but this time it'll be thumped clear by France. They won't want to take any prisoners now, and then in behind the defence, it looks as though France are away now with Thuram, and he's waiting for options. It looked like he was almost waiting to be called offside there, but he's not. He wasn't. He was just buying some time. He does really well there, Thuram, to break away. He's broken away from 3 players, and it's dropped in towards Mbappe. Didn't realise there was a Denmark midfielder right behind him to dispossess him, but France had a massive opportunity there. There was nobody back from Denmark, and Thuram maybe could have gone on and scored.
Yeah, I thought he might have just got that under control and just drove at the Denmark defence, but he chose to slow it down. I think he was a little caught in 2 minds about whether to go for goal or go for the corner flag. In the end, there's some nice footwork to try and set up Mbappe, who was for once caught on his heels, but Yeah, France, they're settling now. They're happy to just take the 2-1 and take their place in the last 16.
Yeah, Kingsley Coman doing really well to dance around a couple of Denmark players. Decides to cut back towards the edge of the box. Thuram was there waiting. Didn't receive the ball though. Poor pass from Kingsley Coman. The two players both play in the Bundesliga. They couldn't link up there as it is back with Theo Hernandez, and he will just stand still and wait with the ball at his feet and go back towards the goalkeeper now. They're just running the clock down here, France, as no one really making an effort in a white shirt to put them under pressure as Mbappe receives the ball at his feet. Rabiot gets it back. Mbappe was down, claiming he should have had a free kick there as Barr came in with a bit of a heavy challenge in behind him, and Mbappe now down on the floor, happy to kill a couple more seconds.
Yeah, Barr just trying to nick a ball that he was never really going to get to, and certainly caught Kylian Mbappe, who's helped back to his feet. A couple of goals for him. He's the tournament's leading scorer now, isn't he? With first player to reach 3 after he netted against Australia as well earlier in the week. So it's going to turn out to be a very good day's work for both him and France on the whole.
Yeah, it's a bit of a job done situation for France. Wasn't the cleanest of victories. A little bit scrappy towards the end with the Denmark equaliser, but nonetheless 3 points are 3 points, and they will be happy to book their place in the last 16 of the World Cup as the ball goes over the top. Last chance there for Denmark to grab an equaliser. Good header away by Theo Hernandez, and we have ticked over the 6th minute of added time, so you really do think this has got to be their final opportunity as Barr just wipes the ball down, wiped his hands down on his shirt, and he'll be wanting to sling the ball into the box and just hope that somebody can get their head on the end of the long throw-in. It is a long one all the way towards almost the penalty area there as it sits up nicely at the edge of the box. A shot comes in, but never going to trouble Hugo Lloris there as Joachim Mæhle tried to go for a very audacious attempt. If it hits the back of the net, it's spectacular, but it was never going to trouble Lloris.
It's your last opportunity of the game. I know he's maybe thinking the referee's about to blow his whistle, but just lift that back into the penalty area. It's a 1 in a million strike that Mæhle's attempting. He was never really set for it, and it's a poor finish. Incidentally, Mbappe's only the joint top scorer, and Valencia's got 3 as well, hasn't he, for Ecuador? But still, looks to be the front runner for the Golden Boot.
Yeah, and the referee blows his whistle to signify the end of a spirited France performance, spearheaded by that man, Kylian Mbappe, like you said, now the joint leading top goal scorer in this year's World Cup. The scoreline finishes France 2, Denmark 1.